Today we're going to go through one of the 10 commandments. In particular, we're going to go through number 7. Now, before I get started, I just want to clarify. You might be like, oh, Barrett, no. No. Of all the commandments to go through, this is like the awkward one, okay? And the reality is, you're right, okay? This is a more awkward topic. And so we're all going to take a deep breath in of awkwardness. And then we're going to release the awkward. And let it just hover around the room. No, here's what's going to happen. Listen up. This is a more mature topic we're going to be talking about today. And this is the reason why, this is the reason why we separate you guys from children's ministry. Because we want to address with you guys the Bible and what it says at your age level. And you might say, Barrett, this feels like a little early for my age level. And I want you to know it's not. It's not, because I want you guys to have a right and proper understanding of sex. And if during this conversation you're like, I can't sit in the room without giggling or talking to my friend about this, or I can't be mature, that's okay. You're welcome to leave. You're welcome to go sit with your parents. But I encourage you to stay, because understanding about this topic from a biblical perspective is important. We need to understand what God has to say about sex so that later in our life and now we can properly have a good view of it. And I'm even going to explain to you a little bit of why we think this is an awkward topic. Like if I had said we're going to talk online, you'd be like, cool. It's not awkward. The moment I'm like sexual, like that's uncomfortable, okay? And we're going to talk a little bit about that together. So let's read here. Short commandment, it's just 5 verses. It is Exodus chapter 20, verse 14. It says, you must not commit adultery. Now you might be asking, well, what is adultery? Adultery is when two people have committed in marriage to be with one another and only with one another. And one of those people, or both of them, break that covenant, and they have sex outside of marriage with someone that is not their husband or is not their wife. And we'll get into that a little bit more as we go along. But I wanted to back up first, and I want to talk about a little bit of review, if you were here when we talked in Genesis about God creating male and female and God creating sex. But I want to talk about marriage, and I want to talk about sex. Then I want to explain adultery and why it matters to you. Because you might be like, Barrett, I am literally 11, okay? I'm not getting married anytime soon. And frankly, if you're a girl, you're like, frankly, the boys in my grade are disgusting, okay? They're not even about that yet, okay? So I don't know what you're talking about. The boys are like, hi, I've never actually talked to a girl that isn't called mom. So I don't even think this is a problem for me, okay? We'll get into that. But first, let's talk about marriage, and we'll talk about sex. So God created Adam. And when he made Adam the first man, he's like, you know what? Creation is not done yet. And then he created Eve. And he created them as a team, as a unit, that they would be in partnership and in unity together. And I've heard some girls say this before. They're like, well, God made boys first, and you might think that's because they're better. It's not. They were the rough draft, okay? We're the finished product, okay? So I've heard some girls say that, okay? Probably true in some sense, okay? I don't know. I'm a dude, and I think there's something to the fact that we don't live as long as girls. Like, guys die quicker than girls. It's probably because we're dumber. Like, I don't know, man. Like, guys are like, hey, what's that? Like, if you watch YouTube compilations of people doing stupid things, it's usually guys. Like, really, it's usually like guys like, hey, check this out. They just take a motorcycle off a cliff. Anyway, I'm getting distracted. I get distracted. It happens. It's okay. Shh, let's bring it in. So, God created Adam and Eve. And he created them, male and female, and he created them for union, for marriage. And here's the beauty of marriage. Marriage is to say, you are picking one person, and they are yours, and you are theirs. You belong to each other. You become one person, one unit. You were two separate families. You become one family. A husband leaves his father and mother and clings to his wife, and they start a new family. A wife leaves her parents, and she becomes a part of a new family. And they have a commitment to say, you are the one that I choose. I choose no one else. I do not live with anyone else. I don't flirt with anybody else. I don't have relations with anyone else. It's just you and me. And it's this beautiful union where they trust one another. And the Bible says one way in which they are to reflect their love for each other is through sex. God actually created sex. Sex is not necessarily, in and of itself, an evil thing. It's not wrong. It's not icky or dirty or gross, though you might think it is, and that's fine if you do so far. But it is not something that is wrong. It is actually something that God made, and if used correctly, it is actually beautiful and a way in which you can honor God if you are in a marriage and showing love to your partner. And what God did was, the reason that he created sex is he created it to, one, be enjoyed by a couple, and two, be the means by which life is made on planet Earth. Think about this. I love, this is one of my favorite things. I love that God said, here's how I'm going to bring life into the world. I'm not going to have you go to Walmart and pick your kid. Be like, all right, do I want this little red-haired boy who grunts a lot named Judah? That's my son. You know, or I want that. Like, you don't go through and just pick them off Walmart. You don't have them delivered by storks, which is, if parents are going to lie to kids about where babies come from, flying birds that deliver babies is the worst way to lie about. You know what I mean? Like, I would just say Amazon. If I want to lie to my kid, like, where babies come from? Amazon. You're Amazon primed, okay? The black, no, okay. But moving on, look, what we need to understand is God said, no, that's not how I want kids to come into the world. Here's how. I want two people to commit to one another, to be vulnerable with one another, to show love to one another, and through joy and even through enjoyment, act out in their bodies actually becoming one and producing life by this. And the life they produce will literally be a genetic copy of the two of them. Think about that. A child is a genetic copy, half of the father, half of the mother. God is saying, I want your children to be a reflection of the love that you have for one another. That's a beautiful thing. And if in marriage you have children, what it should literally be is these children that walk around, they are representations of our love for one another. And they are representations of our unity together. They are representations of us coming together and becoming one. They are products of love. And so if all sex was only had within marriage and only had in a loving, God-honoring way, every child that comes into the world would be a product of the love of the parents for one another and would have a father and mother that love one another, that are in a relationship together. It's a beautiful blueprint that God made. So recognize, don't allow the world or Satan to dilute what sex is and make you think, oh, it's something gross and awkward and wrong and uncomfortable. No, it's something that is beautiful and righteous, can be enjoyable, and is good. And God made it. But here's what Satan does. Satan loves to take something that is good and pure and right and twist it and dilute it and pervert it. You know what a lie is? A lie is taking the truth and perverting it and changing it to where it is no longer the truth. To murder is wrong because rather than respecting someone's life, you're taking their life. To bully is wrong because rather than building someone up with your words, you are tearing them down with your words. So it is a missing of the mark of what God has intended. This is what I want for sex, or this is what I want for your words, or this is how I want your relationships to be. And it's missing that mark. And what happens is Satan has perverted it, where he might say, hey, sex is casual, is with whoever you want, as many people as you want. Sex can be whenever you decide you start wanting to have sex. Sex can be something where it's cheap, it's sold, it is casual. And that is not what God has said. God has said it is beautiful, it is intimate and private. It is to be enjoyed by two people. And it is a gift that is shared where you say, the gift of literally my body is something I only share with you. And I have waited to share it with you. That is a beautiful gift. A gift that you say, this is especially for you. When someone makes you a gift by hand, or they take the time to write your name on a card and give it to you, you feel unique rather than just maybe a generic gift given to a bunch of people. You feel treasured that you took the time to remember my birthday, make me a gift, write my name on the card. That's really thoughtful. But to give someone the gift to say, I give the gift of literally me for the rest of my life, that's an amazing gift and a beautiful gift. So Satan tries to cheapen that, cheapen how we view sex, and this leads to adultery. Because as I said, adultery is when two people have committed to be married, committed to be faithful to one another, and one of them or both of them break that commitment. And they have sex with someone outside of their marriage. And the reason this is so wrong is because they're breaking the trust that they have with each other. They're breaking the connection that they have with one another. They're cheapening the gift that they have said, I'm only giving this to you and sharing it with others. And it leads to all kinds of problems. It leads to divorce. It leads to kids had outside of marriage that might even lead to an abortion. It leads to disease. It leads to hurt, emotional hurt, betrayal, all kinds of problems. So when God gives this command, God is not saying, hey, I don't want you to have fun. I don't want you to enjoy your life. I want you to be miserable. No, he's actually saying the opposite. He's saying, I'm trying to protect you. I want you to be comfortable being vulnerable with yourself with someone else and feel safe in that. I don't want you to betray one another. I want you to love and care and protect each other and not just seek out for yourself. That's what God is trying to communicate when he creates this law. And I want us to see God's vision for sex so that we can see why the world's vision for it and Satan's vision for it is so wrong. So that's what adultery is. That's a little bit about what marriage is and sex is. You might be like, whew, Barrett, this is already uncomfortable, okay? I'm just like sweating over here, okay? I'm really uncomfortable. I'm trying to like daydream, but I feel like weird. Like this is super uncomfortable, and you are right, okay? It is, and it's fine to say that, okay? So take another deep breath in of awkward. And just get rid of it. Let the awkward go. Get rid of that, okay? So we're going to talk today, though, about like why does this matter to me? I'm in middle school. I'm not planning on getting married anytime soon, okay? I don't maybe struggle with this necessarily just yet. Like, why does this relate to me? Well, the reason it relates to you is, one, in the future, you probably will struggle with some sort of sexual temptation. And also, already where you are at now, there might be some temptation that you struggle with that Jesus addresses. Matthew chapter 5, verse 7, Jesus raises the bar. It's not just do not physically commit adultery in marriage, have sex outside of marriage. Jesus raises the bar for what is expected. Here's what he says. You have heard that it was said, do not commit adultery. But I tell you that anyone who looks at a woman lustfully has already committed adultery with her in his heart. What does that mean? Well, Jesus is saying, remember how he raised the bar on murder. He said, you've heard it said don't murder. And it's true, you should not murder. That's a low bar. Hopefully it's easy for you to not murder people, okay? But then Jesus raises the bar. But I tell you, you shouldn't even have hatred in your heart towards people. You should love others and build them up. And if you speak harsh words to them in your heart and with your mouth, you are sinning as murdering them in your words or murdering them in your heart. In the same way, you can commit adultery by your words, by your physical actions, and also in your heart and in your mind through lust. Let me talk about this. There's a difference between lust and attraction. Okay? It is okay to be attracted to someone of the opposite gender. That's okay. All right? So you might be like, all right, Barrett, this weird thing happens where occasionally I get really awkward and uncomfortable about around somebody. I think, oh, they're kind of cute. And I'm like, what is wrong with me? What's going on? It's super normal and okay. I remember when I was in, I think it was like 6th grade. I was just like not really thinking about girls that much, didn't really care that much. And this girl came up to me and goes, hi, I like you. Would you like to be my boyfriend? And I'm like, what does that mean? I'm like so confused. Boy, like what? Boy, what? And I'm like, what do you mean? And she goes, well, do you like me? And I talked to her and I thought she was cool. And I'm like, yes, I like you. She goes, oh, we're boyfriend, girlfriend. And she runs away. And I'm like, wait, what? What just happened? Okay, what just happened? Okay, and people are coming up to me, hey, congrats on the girlfriend. I'm like, what are you talking about? And they're like, well, don't you like her? I'm like, yeah, but I like other girls too. And they go, what? They ran and they're like, hey, so your boyfriend who you just got, he apparently likes other. And when I said like, I just meant I thought they were cool, thought they were not. I like other girls too. I just, I wasn't in my mind in a committed relationship or anything. I didn't know we were getting married, okay? And so the girl comes back to me and goes, have you already cheated on me? And I'm like, hold on, okay? It's not even lunch yet. I just got a girlfriend. I got a girlfriend angry at me. I apparently have already cheated on. I don't even know what's happening. I was very confused, okay? It was very confusing. Dating in middle school is exhausting and terrifying. Yeah, you're like, yes, okay, that's fine. But moving on, later though, I remember getting to a place where I was in college and I'm like, yeah, I kind of see some girls that I'm interested in. So I'd go up and talk to them. And it was uncomfortable and challenging to do. And I don't know why. I would feel like my tongue was swelling up. Like I feel like my tongue was swelling up, but it wasn't. I was just uncomfortable and awkward and sweaty. And so it was hard to talk to people. And I remember, oh, Rachel, I'm going to tell this one story. This one time I was in the cafeteria at college. This is so bad. Oh man, I should tell us. Anyway, so I'm in the cafeteria and I saw this girl and I thought, oh, she's a cute girl, but like I didn't even think I was going to talk to her or anything. And as I'm walking up to get soda from the soda machine, she cuts in front of me. And she goes, oh, and I say, or she says, oh, I'm so sorry. And I go, no, it's okay. And I pause. And I pause too long. And then I said, you're fine. And she thought I meant, you're fine. And so she gives me this look like, really? And I go, no, you're not pretty. Oh, no. And I stop and I go, no. You actually are very pretty. I just wasn't saying that you were pretty when I said the words that came out of my mouth, and now I don't want to talk any words out of my mouth. Goodbye. And I literally walked back to my table with an empty cup, and I just set it down, and I'm like, my life is over, okay? It is uncomfortable and hard dating in middle school and college and high school. It is an uncomfortable, awkward thing to do. Don't get me wrong, okay? And it's challenging, but I want you to hear this. It is okay to have a crush. It's okay to like somebody else. It's okay to be like, I like them. I want to go talk to them. Hi. Like, that's okay. It's also okay if you have a crush, and some people crush, and their way of crushing is avoiding the other person and never talking to them and never making eye contact. Like, some people crush and they like bully you, which I'm like, how are you loving? You're pulling my hair like out of my scalp. That was a girl, actually. That's a whole other story. But like, you're pulling my hair out of my scalp, and that's how you like me? That's how you confusing. Anyway, so it's confusing, but I want you to hear this. It is okay to have attraction. It is okay to be interested in somebody else. And in a way to gear, if it's okay, is what is your intention? If your intention is, I have a crush on somebody, I just want to talk to them. That's okay. I have a crush on them, I just want to get to know them better. That's okay. None of that is wrong. I have a crush on them, even maybe I kind of want to hold their hand. Not okay. No, I'm kidding. It's okay, all right? It might be okay. But here's what I'm trying to show you. There's a difference when in our heart we have what is called lust. And here's the difference. Lust is when I am being led by my desires in a direction that is not a good direction. For example, it is lust if I look at somebody and I desire something that is inappropriate with them. It's lust if I, in my heart, desire to say or do anything to them that is not acceptable before marriage. That is when lust is taking over. So I want to explain a little bit more about what lust is, because Jesus is telling us, hey, in your heart, in your mind, do not allow lust to control you and be a part of you. So the first thing is this. Lust is when we are led or have disrespect towards someone else, okay? Lust is when we have disrespect, and here's what that looks like. If you lust after someone else, you will treat them in a way that is not respectful to them as God made them, not respectful to their body, and also disrespectful even to your own body. Let me play this out. Gentlemen, if you are in a relationship with a girl and you guys are dating and it's been going okay, and in your heart, you desire to do something that is more than would be acceptable or appropriate before you get married, and then you begin to pressure the girl saying, hey, if you love me, why don't we do this? If you love me, why don't you send me this picture? If you love me, why don't why don't we even have sex before marriage? That is you being led by lust. It is disrespectful to the girl. It's disrespectful even to yourself. And it's disrespectful to God. God gave you your body. And you are a son of God, and girls are a daughter of God, and you need to respect who is the daughter of God. When I started dating my wife, I changed her name in my phone, and I changed it to Catherine, daughter of God. And the reason that I did that was every time she texted me, I wanted to remember, hey, this is God's daughter, and I want to respect her. I want to honor her. I want to treat her with love and reverence. Because when you meet somebody's father, it's terrifying. Why? Okay, if you're a boy and you're dating a girl and you meet the dad, hi, large individual who does not look happy at me. Why are you stroking your mustache and looking very mean? Okay, like that's weird, okay? Not looking happy, okay? I love the pictures of like girls and guys taking prom pictures and there's a dad just like in the background, okay? But when you meet the dad, you're like, whoa, hey, I don't want to do anything to anger that guy. I want to respect that dude. I do not want him angry at me. Well, realize this, gentlemen, every girl is made by God and her father. If you have respect and honor for God, you should respect and honor his daughters. Respect them, love them, cherish them, protect them. Do not make them feel uncomfortable. Do not pressure them. Do not take advantage of them. Do not be selfish towards them. Those things are not love. And ladies, you might find yourself one day in a relationship. And maybe the guy is saying things like this. Maybe he's saying, hey, I really like you, and you're beautiful, and you're amazing, and all these things. And if you love me, why don't you send me this inappropriate picture? Or if you love me, why don't you let us go further physically? Like, it's a way that I can show you how much I love you. Ladies, here's what you say to the boy. First go, ew. Okay, no, I'm kidding. First thing you say to him is this. If you loved me, you would respect me. If you love me, you would not pressure me. If you love me, you would not try to make me feel uncomfortable, but more comfortable. If you love me, you would be patient with me. If you love me, you would commit to me. You don't love me. You just want something from me. I mean that. And ladies, do not let guys with their words try and deceive you and make you think your worth is just what you offer to them or how you look or your body. That is not your worth. It is a part of it, and you should respect your body, and you should realize my body is something that is good because God gave it to me, and it is beautiful, and it is worthy, and it is a prize. I don't give it to boys. What you should rather say is this. Hey, so if you actually want to have sex with me, you say you want to have sex with me or you want to go further, here's what you should do, okay? One, grow up. Get a job, move out of your parents' basement, get a car, because you didn't even have a driver's license yet, okay? We had to be driven to the movie theaters by your mom, okay? Not cool. Then be able to provide for yourself and me, buy a nice ring, commit to love me and have sex with only me for the rest of your life, and commit before God that you will cherish me, love me. Then you receive this gift of my body and this gift of sex with me. That is essentially saying, ladies, here is my worth. You don't tell me my worth is, well, I just want to make you feel better. That's not my worth. My worth is more than that. My worth is I respect my own body enough to say, I want to be committed to, I want to be loved, I want to be taken care of. And that is what it means to enjoy sex and be in a true marriage and relationship. And ladies, do not allow yourself to be in a relationship where a guy pressures you to go further than you feel. If you feel uncomfortable, tell him. If he keeps pressuring you, dump him, okay? I mean, you're allowed to be like, oh, that's kind of harsh. No, it's not, okay? Because guys being led by lust can do things that are wildly inappropriate. They can physically take advantage of girls, and it is not okay. I'll say this too to the gentlemen, and I know I'm being harsh on the gentlemen. I'll talk to the ladies in a little bit. But gentlemen, I'll say this too. If you are in a situation where you're hanging with some friends and they start talking about a girl, whether you even know her or not, you tell them, hey, we're not going to talk about her like that. We're not going to talk about her body like that. We're not going to talk about her appearance like that. And if they make fun of you or they keep doing it, you leave. Don't have anything to do with that. You stand up for her. I'm assuming that if people talked about your sister that way, you would not be acceptable with that. You'd be like, hey, you don't talk about my sister that way. Respect your sisters in Christ as well, and respect them and fight for them and protect them. Do not have part of crass, inappropriate sexual jokes. Have no part of it. And especially do not objectify women just saying, well, they're just a body. They're just something that gives me pleasure. No, they're a soul. And their soul lives in a body. And they are deserving of respect and worth and honor. And ladies, the same way with gentlemen. Do not just objectify men to just their bodies. Just what they look like. They're more than just what they look like. And gentlemen, if you find yourself in a relationship where a girl is pressuring you to go further than you like, and maybe she might even be manipulating you, saying like, oh, if you really love me, you'll do this with me. If you really love me, you'll show me how much you love me. Say this, no, I really love you. I love you so much to say, I want to wait until marriage to have sex. I love you so much that I will not take advantage of you in that way. And I love God so much, and I want to respect you, respect myself, and respect what God made in sex. You might say, well, that's kind of a really mature thing to say. Okay, then don't date till you're ready to say that. Seriously. On one of our second or third dates, me and my wife, we had a talk about physical boundaries where we simply said, and you might be like, this is awkward to talk about. Okay, well, it's mature to talk about. And if you're not ready, that's fine. My wife and I were talking, or I guess we were dating. So my girlfriend and I were talking. And I said, hey, here's going to be our boundaries. And we made them together. We're like, hey, we are not going to have sex before marriage. Hey, we are not going to do this before marriage or that before marriage. Hey, we gave ourselves a curfew. I'm a grown man. I had a car. I had a house. I had my own life. And I set a curfew where I'm not alone with her past midnight. That was a rule we made. And we made that commitment to ourselves and to God, and we kept it until marriage. And just like we make a commitment in marriage, we made a commitment before marriage. So we need to recognize that lust leads us to disrespecting one another and disrespecting God. And we need to have purity in our heart and in our actions towards one another. Additionally, lust leads to mistakes. Lust leads to mistakes. That's the second point. And it's this, that when you have lust in your heart and you're led by lust, led by inappropriate thoughts, it leads to all kinds of consequences. I mentioned some earlier. It can lead to getting pregnant before you're ready. It can lead to potentially having an abortion where you end the life of a child because it's inconvenient for you. It can lead to sexually transmitted diseases. It can lead to hurt emotions, hurt relationships, the ending of relationships. It can lead to a diminished self-worth where somebody says, well, I guess I'm not worth it because, they betrayed my trust. All kinds of bad things. And it can lead to these other mistakes. Lust can lead you to say things you wouldn't normally say, do things you wouldn't normally do, and you're blinded by it. It impairs your judgment. I think most men, actually, I would say almost all men would say, no, I would never push a girl further than she feels comfortable. I would always respect a girl. I'd never take advantage of her. But when lust takes over, they're not thinking straight. They're just thinking about what they want. And they're being driven by that, and they act very inappropriately. You got to be careful. We got to be careful. How are our desires leading us? Like I've said before, it is not wrong to be attracted or even desire something. It's not even wrong if you desire sex. That's okay. But desire it in a way that is healthy and is leading you in a right way. It's okay, for example, to be angry. Is your anger controlling you and causing you to sin or not? It's okay to be sad. But it's how is your sadness controlling you and is it leading to sin? It's okay to be happy. These emotions, it's okay to be happy. But are you putting happiness above godliness where you're saying, well, I just want to be happy, so I'm just going to lie because it feels easier and I'd be less happy if I told the truth. No. Okay? Your goal is not happiness. I don't want to be led by happiness. I want to be led by God's Spirit. And I'm getting off track, but happiness is not the ultimate goal of your life. It's not. People are like, I just want you to be happy. I love saying, when people say that, I say back to them sometimes, I'm like, really? What if it made me happy to just punch you in the face and take your car? You want me to be happy? Why can't I just do that? I'm just going to do it. They're like, what? No, I can't. Well, that can't be what makes you happy. Well, what makes me happy? Like, should we just do what makes us happy? No, we shouldn't. I don't be led by just what I want to do. I should be led by what is right to do. And sometimes what is right to do is hard. So, we need to be careful about where lust leads us because it can lead us to mistakes. But also, lust can lead us in a way where it leads to guilt and it leads to shame. Here's the cycle that Satan loves. And this is the next point. Here's the cycle that Satan loves. Satan loves to tell you, hey, look, why don't you just do this thing that'll make you feel better? Why don't you just cheat on this test? You'll feel better. Or why don't you send an inappropriate picture? Or why don't you push your girlfriend or boyfriend further than they want to go? Why don't you just do this thing? You'll feel better. You'll enjoy it. It'll be good for you. You deserve it. You want it. So take what you want. Then the moment that you sin, the moment that maybe you look up something inappropriate online you shouldn't look up, or the moment that you push somebody further than they wanted to go physically, Satan flips the switch and he goes, I can't believe you did that. You are so dirty. You're so wrong. You have so much guilt. You should feel shame. You shouldn't even go to church because you're not worthy to go there. You shouldn't touch your Bible because the Bible's for good people and you're not good anymore. You shouldn't sing worship songs anymore. You should have nothing to do. God is so done with you and embarrassed by you. You're dirty and wrong. And those are thankfully all lies from Satan. Here's the truth. Jesus has said this. Never will I leave you or forsake you. You can never make a mistake that is so great that I am done with you. Jesus says, yeah, I know that you've made mistakes and you have sin in your life, but he says that my blood, the sacrifice that I have made on your behalf, has washed you clean. You are being made pure and righteous by what I have done for you. Yes, you've made mistakes, but I will wash them away. And I love you as you are with all of the mistakes that you've made. When you marry someone and you commit to them, that commitment, that vow, you are saying, hey, whatever mistake you make in the future, whatever mistakes you made in the past, I love you and commit to you. You never marry a perfect person. People are like, oh, I married the perfect person. Oh, they're so perfect for me. They're never perfect, okay? You are marrying a sinner and they are marrying a sinner. You, okay? That's how it works. You're marrying someone that's imperfect. But what you were saying is true love is this. True love is to look at somebody else and say, I know all of your weaknesses, your mistakes, what you've done wrong, and I'm staying. I'm not leaving. I love you, and I know that you're not perfect, and I love you. And sometimes we try to hide the things that we've done wrong, like, well, I don't want them to see me without makeup on, or I don't want them to see me unless I'm looking really cool and my outfit's nice, or I don't want them to see me when I'm not doing well at school, when I'm not doing, because we try to impress our crushes or whatever, but eventually, after dating someone long enough, they begin to see the real you, and we feel vulnerable, and we feel uncomfortable. Oh man, they actually see me, they know me. Are they going to accept me as I am? The reason that sex is uncomfortable to talk about, one of the reasons, is because sex is an incredibly vulnerable thing that is shared with one other person. And to share your body as it is with someone else is intimidating and scary. But to be accepted as you are, as you look, as all the mistakes you've made, is one of the most beautiful things. To be received, to not be rejected. And in marriage, it is a beautiful thing. And it's awkward because we talk about it and we feel like, man, there's this shame and guilt associated with it, but there doesn't have to be. That's of sin. There is no shame or guilt within marriage about sex. Now, there is a privacy about it, and it's not something you should just blatantly talk about, something that is personal in your life. And that would be a little disrespectful because it's something that you two share. That'd be like blurting out secrets that you share with one other person, with a lot of other people. It is something intimate and special, but do not allow Satan to heap guilt or shame on you for your mistakes. Because let's be real, there are people, all of us, who have made mistakes. Perhaps your mistake is looking at inappropriate things online. It's called pornography. Pornography is looking at sexually explicit images or acts of people online that are wrong. And you know when you're looking at that, like, I shouldn't be looking at that. How do you know? Well, here's an easy way of putting it. If you're sitting here in the room and you're on your phone, would you be looking at it with somebody sitting next to you? The answer is no. Probably it's something you shouldn't be looking at. It's the answer. And we look at pornography at times, and when people do that, what it does is it twists their image of what sex is. It twists their expectations. It twists the way that they look at people, and it rewires your brain. And it can be as addicting, studies have shown, in the neurological pathways of your mind and the dopamine hits that you get, it can be as addicting as drugs. I'm serious. It can be as addicting as some drugs. And it rewires the way that your mind works. And if you're struggling with this, fight against it. Fight against it. Seek help. Talk to Rachel. Talk to myself. Talk to your parents. You're like, my parents? Hold on. No. Talk to them. Share with them. Hey, I want to stop this. I want to fight this. The shame that you might feel even as I talk about this, and I want you to hear this, God can take that shame. And I bet if you could stop, you would want to. But addiction is something where we want to stop something and we can't. And we need freedom from that addiction. Maybe your struggle is you're in a relationship. You're like, man, we're going too far. We're doing too much. Maybe the answer is you need to either set clear boundaries or leave that relationship. Maybe it's, well, people are asking for inappropriate pictures, or I'm asking for people for inappropriate pictures. Okay, if it's on Snapchat, delete Snapchat. Get rid of that. Have nothing to do with it. Set up some boundaries in your relationship between you and between sin, that you might fight against it and war against it. But here's the beautiful thing. Sin, or I should say lust, leads to disrespect, to mistakes, to guilt, to shame. But here's what Jesus leads to. Jesus leads to freedom. Freedom from sin. Freedom to desire good things. The next slide is Jesus desires for you better things, to give you freedom, give you forgiveness for your sin, and to give you life. And perhaps Jesus does want you to enjoy sex one day in marriage. He actually wants you to enjoy that perhaps in marriage, if that's his plan for you. But he wants you to enjoy it in a way that is healthy and beautiful and pure. And studies have actually shown that couples that are married, even though the world will tell you this isn't true, studies have shown that couples that are married, that have a good sex life, actually have a better marriage. They have a more loving and tender marriage for one another. They're more likely to stay together, and they're more likely to even live longer. There's all these kind of wonderful benefits to enjoying it in marriage as God saw it. So God actually wants you and desires you to enjoy it, but he desires you to enjoy it the right way. The right way. It's like I want my son to enjoy, he has this beautiful little toy car that he likes to drive. He like sits in it and he drives around. It's like a fireman. It's adorable. Anyway, he's driving around. I want him to enjoy that car, okay? I do not want him to enjoy that car on the highway, okay? That is not where I want him to enjoy that car. And he's like, but Dad, do you not want me to have fun or anything? And he cries and grunts, whatever. No, I want you to enjoy it in the right place at the right time where it's safe and even enjoyable for you. I don't think you would enjoy it on the highway very much, okay? That would be very short-lived. I want you to enjoy it here. And so when God says, this is how I want you to enjoy sex, he's not trying to make you miserable. He's not trying to deny you joy. He's actually trying to help you. And God wants to lead you into freedom. And Jesus Christ says, I can give you freedom from any sin that hangs over you. I can give you freedom, but you must believe in me. Lean into me. And when you do sin, because you will, after this sermon, we will not all be perfect moving forward in our lives. We will make mistakes. But know this, Jesus still loves you. He still forgives you. You are still beautiful to him and worthwhile. And I encourage you to not only seek the forgiveness that he gives, but seek the freedom that he offers to be free from sin. There was a woman who was caught in adultery. She was dragged before Jesus, and they threw her at Jesus' feet. And they said, Jesus, this woman sinned. What should we do with her? And Jesus says, all right, whoever sinned first may punish her. I'm sorry, whoever has never sinned may punish her. If you've never sinned in your life, go ahead and punish her. And one by one, everybody left because they all knew, I've sinned too. And Jesus asked the woman when everyone had left, where are your accusers? Where are those who said you had done something wrong? And she said, they've left. And Jesus says, all right, then go, therefore, you are forgiven. But he also said this, he said, sin no more. He said, I forgive you. I know what you've done wrong. Here's Jesus looking at this woman who has committed adultery, this act that we just talked about. And he said, I am offering you forgiveness, and I'm offering you freedom from this lifestyle. Sin no more. Run from this sin. Have nothing to do with it, and your life will be better. I challenge you guys with the same. I challenge you to run from temptation, run from lust, run from what is evil and wrong, and run towards what God has for you, and you will actually live a more full and rich life. I appreciate you guys. You guys did a wonderful job. Awkward topic, okay? Well done. If you guys have questions, Rachel's in the back. I'm up here. You guys are free to go. Have a wonderful Sunday. We'll see you guys later.